So D, I will respond to one of your comments of many ridiculous ones, but you're saying, okay, what does USC need to do on defense to win the national championship? Well, I would say not that this is a complete answer because there are so many different variables when you talk about weighing how good the offense has to be, the defense. But if we put USC's offensive production this past season on par with Ohio State, if we say those are extremely comparable offenses as two of the three or four best in the nation, then Ohio State obviously came this close to what we would presume to be a national championship, since, again, most people would consider the TCU game to have been a win for Ohio State. Uh, and Ohio State had a considerably better defense than USC. Was it great? No, not by any stretch. It was probably a top 35 or 40 defense in the country. It was it was good. It was decent. But USC, for as good as USC was defensively, Matt, during that stretch of time that you talked about early in the season and holding down Oregon State and Washington State, they've still finished, even with that strong start, they still finished 124th in the country in yards per play against. That's how atrocious they were the rest of the year.
It is. And the other thing it showed is that, USC was gobbling up turnovers like Ms. Pac-Man in those first 6 games. And when that turnover spigot, slowed down, then the Trojans were, much more vulnerable, much more exposed. And that's the other point that, Alex Grinch might coach his players to get turnovers, and we can say he did a reasonably good job of that last year, but that came at the expense of sure tackling. And so it's on Grinch to find that balance. And you can say that he didn't have the dudes, but like that can only fly so much. That if tackling is so fundamental to football, sometimes like if the other guy across the way is just a better athlete than you, he's taller, bigger, faster, stronger than you. Okay, like I get it. Like that's just one athlete being better than the other. And you could certainly point to some plays where, especially like with Utah and Eric Gentry and, Larry Pilgrim, our Utah analyst here at the Voice of College Football, he made the point that Eric Gentry just was not physically developed enough to take the pounding from Utah's physicality. So that was a case of, Utah's dudes being better than USC's dudes. But you could certainly point to dozens, if not hundreds, in which a USC player was in the right position to make the tackle and he didn't wrap up, he didn't finish the play. And so at some point, that some of that, not all of it, okay, but some of it does have to reflect on how well tackling is being taught. And, so the Grinch excuses only have so much of a shelf life, only so much merit. I mean, they have some merit. Like, I'm not saying it's zero. Like, I'm not trying to say it's all of one and none of the other. It's a little, but that's also why this 2023 season is such a referendum on Alex Grinch, because, okay, year one, grace period, learning what you have, et cetera, et cetera. In year two, can you clean things up? Can you fix things? Can you address problems? If Alex Grinch can, that's a pretty strong reaffirmation of what he has. And if he can't, it's an indication that USC has to upgrade. It has to expect a much higher standard of performance at defensive coordinator.